everyone. This is Religious Fanboy. Hi. This is first time recording in the dorm. Um, this is um a giving of. I'm gonna be giving a sermon at the time of this. At the time of it being up, I will have already given this sermon in class. Um, I'm gonna start the go ahead and start the sermon. Um, the title of this sermon is If God Wants What's Best for Us, why does he not take away our burdens when we want him to? Um, the past month of well, a few I've been at Greenville for a few months, and the past couple of months have been very difficult for me with workload and to um, getting used to living independently on campus and other situations. Um, this led to me being very angry with God because I I wasn't understanding why God would put me through such a rough time. Um, which led to me being very angry with God over the throughout the past few months. Um, but God does not promise to take away our burdens, but He promises that He will replace our heavy burdens with easy ones. When we are so focused on our frustrations and burdens that we experience and the negative things in our lives, it is very easy to a- ask the question of if God truly wants what's best for me, why does He not take away my burdens whenever I ask Him to? But God does not promise to simply take away our burdens. He promises to replace our heavy burdens with His light burdens. God wants us to surrender our burdens. God wants everyone who is suffering and overworked, stretched too thin, to surrender their burdens and afflictions to Him. No good father takes pleasure in the suffering of their children. God cares more about the relationship we have with Him than the work we do for Him. Ministry should not be done and fulfilled by our own energy because It's not us that we are supposed to be glorifying through our ministry and worship. Our burdens are heavy and earthly. A prideful pursuit to be in control is not worth being crushed with unnecessary burdens, such as stress and guilt. Being willing to surrender our burdens does mean we will have to be willing to swallow our pride and give up control to God. If a student in an algebra class said that he is having a really hard time applying the order of operations in math problems and told his teacher this, she would not tell him, "Oh, you don't have to take tests and you're exempt from the tests and the homeworks and the assignments that have to do with the order of operations." Instead, she would sit down and help walk him through the problems in class so that when he was working on it for homework at home and when it came time to take the test, he'd be ready and prepared by being better equipped to answer the questions. Burden God's burdens are easy and light. From the my going through the passages, Matthew, through referring to the Bible Hub interlinear translation, I came across the Greek word that is commonly translated, or was translated from Greek. The English translation for the word that was put was easy. And I came across when scrolling over the word a list of synonyms. So a list of English synonyms based on the definition of the word Christos. And these two of the words were gentle and pleasant, which seemed to make sense because those words seem to easily be able to replace the word easy. But one word that I found especially interesting among the list of synonyms was the word useful. Because some just because God's burdens that He replaces our heavy burdens with are easy and light does not mean and that they won't be used, they are no longer of use, and their usefulness in God's plan are the reason, or I feel can be the reason why we still have burdens, even though when we surrender them, we are given easy and light burdens, we are still given burdens because God intends these burdens to challenge and encourage us to grow deeper in faith and closer to God in our relationship with Him. When we surrender our burdens and hardships to God, the burdens of death and temptation are things that Jesus has already overcome. When we surrender our burdens and hardships to Him, God takes away the stress and guilt and negative emotions that those situations have afflicted us with. This does not mean that the deadlines or the burdens go away. It means that since we have given God control over these things, we no longer have to stress about them because we have given God control over these things by surrendering them to Him. This does not mean we do not have to work. It means that we continue to work free from the panic and stress that can be the effects of having to face these hardships. God does not promise to take away our burdens. He promises to replace our earthly and heavy burdens with light ones. When we practice surrendering control over our hardships to God, we are able to grow deeper in our faith and grow deeper in our faith and our trust in God's plan.